Good morning and welcome to a rather overcast day in the South Lakes. And what do we have here? Kia EV3. Car of the year, I might add. And because it's an electric vehicle, that means a road trip. I'm Ben Quirk, welcome to Planet Auto. The first thing you have to say about it is, it's a baby EV9. And that's not a bad thing. I love that excellent SUV, which offers pretty much everything you could need. The way that Kia has evolved is monumental. And if you haven't driven a modern day Kia, I compel you to, because what they offer for the money is fantastic. Mega levels of safety, comfort, practicality and versatility. Also, their tech is, well, pretty advanced. EV3, fantastic in every way, and it does replace the soul. Now that was a really funky little cool car, but it did have its foibles. For example, it liked a wheel spin. This won't for love nor money, which is excellent, because it means it can put its power down, therefore making it more efficient because it's not losing its spinning. And they don't just hand out the Car of the Year award willy-nilly. This has certainly earned its stripes. Now here's one thing you probably haven't noticed. It's actually smaller than the Nero. Even though its dimensions make it look, I don't know, more buff. I mean, just look at its flared arches, clamshell bonnet, and its EV9 inspired design. It's full of tech, it's full of safety, and it looks pretty damn cool too. But more than that, the price tag. It starts at around 33,000, and even if you go for top of the range with a heat pump, you're looking at around 43,000. Yes, if you want a heat pump, you can only get that on GT Line S. It would have been better to have it rolled out across all the models, and it does puzzle me why it's not actually an option on the others. Anyway, that's something we want to see next time. But apart from that, it's near perfect. And you don't say that very often, especially about an electric car. Range-wise, you get a 50 kilowatt battery and that'll offer you around 270 miles. If you go for the long range like we've got, then that's closer to 375. The thing is, real time, I would say up to about 340. We managed, I think it was just about 300. But what I have noticed is on the cluster, when you've got a charge, it has a high number and a low number, which I presume means if you floor it permanently in that mode, that's the least you'll get. And if you're Miss Daisy, then you'll get the high number. And that eliminates range anxiety. When it comes to the trims, Air is well equipped straight off the bat. For example, you get heated seats, you get a decent sized infotainment screen, you even get adaptive cruise control. Moving up to the GT line like ours, you get things like 19-inch wheels, you get a wireless charging pad. And if you fancy the GT Line S, then you get a hood and heated and ventilated seats. Looks, well, I think they speak for themselves, especially with this two-tone styling. It's not true two-tone, but the fact that you've got the A-pillars that are black and then the black trim that runs along the full length, and that's the top and the bottom. Also, it does remind me of i3, which I think is a really cool thing. And considering it's smaller than Nero, it's not really. But that's the difference between having a vehicle built on a true electric platform. And on that note, it uses EGMP, which is modular. This is actually the platform that the new vans are built on. Talk about versatility. Just look at this chunky front bumper. You've got some safety down here and full LEDs, all automatic, high beam assist. And this, I think this is classed as the Constellation concept. And if you notice, it does look a bit like stars, especially as it illuminates. Damn good lights. Not surprising, Kia's tech has been top notch for years. And this is no different. We don't even have grills anymore. They've not even tried to hide the fact it's just not there. You just have a big bumper, which I think makes this look far more slick. The thing is, these designs now don't look futuristic. They look now. And I think that's a really good thing. Because radical right at the beginning with EVs was a bit too much. This, perfect balance. Chunky off-road styling, but it's black gloss, which gives it a less rugged appearance and more, well, sleek, sporty. Pull 0 to 60 in around 7.4, and it doesn't have problems putting power down. It sticks to the road like glue. Mind you, it's an electric vehicle. It's agile enough on a B road, but it still does allow for a little bit of body movement, which gives it far more comfort, but it's still nimble enough for a bit of fun. If you like this type of video, why not subscribe to the channel? You just hit the button on the right hand side. It's free and you'll get an alert every time we upload. Thank you. Keyless entry, black mirror tops, and you even get blind spot cameras on the GT Line S. Mind you, we have blind spot detection. The door opens nice and wide, and it's an interior that just makes you think, wow. And because we've got the GT line, we even get these fabric inserts. and I think they really lift it. On the air, it does look a little sparse. Even things like the stripe, and if you've noticed, the heated seats and the electric windows are on this door card. It's not the biggest door pocket, but it'll do the job. Climbing in, child's play. I need to dip my head a little bit, but apart from that, all good. No, this is cool. And it does feel, once again, like baby EV9. Even the space, this is rather wide. And you can get 2 arms on the armrest. I mean, look at the vents. Down here, you've got your electronic handbrake. You can adjust the headlamp height. And yes, it can tow up to about a ton. Not bad for a vehicle of this size. The mighty cuboid spherical steering wheel, or as Annabelle calls it, the squircle. Very cool. I love the colour scheme too. Like all modern electric Kias, we have a column shift. And if you twist this forward, you've got drive. There's also neutral, reverse, and you press the end for park. Solid. Because it's built on a purely electric platform, it means it's got mega space. So we've got a wireless charging pad, cup holders, and a massive storage area. And this moves forwards and backwards. 3-part cluster. It's excellent. The only downfall is, sat at my height, with the steering wheel at this position, this eats into the air conditioning. Bit of an oversight, but the rest of it is very clear and straightforward. Gives you a wealth of information. Everything from which regen level you're in, to your speeds, to your media, to your safety. Pretty much ticks every box. So it's pretty much everything you need. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you've got satellite navigation. The thing is, I'm going into all this, and we'll do this on the road trip, because we'll be able to show you exactly what everything does. But it's nice and responsive, and that's what matters. Great visibility. Looks like they've reduced things like the A-pillars compared to, say, conventional vehicles. It's very comfortable. I've got an electric seat, but this one's manual. And as you'd expect, the GT line is trimmed extremely well. I like these seats, but I do like perforated leather. And yes, it is faux. And it's excellent to see that the interior is not just black. And I do like this sporty headliner, a nice dark colour. But the contrast works extremely well, and it means the car's rather light, even though it's relatively small. I think it feels bigger than Nero and Soul, even though it's smaller. Right, let's take a look in the back. I almost forgot. Adjustable seatbelt, but no grab handle. It's got a great side profile and a lovely silhouette, and the two-tone and the 5-door designation works really well. Charging, you're looking at a full charge in around 30 minutes, so 100 kilowatts. If you go for the long range, like ours, then it's 135 kilowatts. Just look at the length of the rear doors. Also, the door handles are up here, so rather sleek design. Decent height too. Impressive. The door opens to a decent width. Also, this is a nice opening. Climbing in should be child's play. Okay, so I do have to dip my head, but it's not as much of previous Kias of this size. And because it's on a purely electric platform, I've got more room than expected. I can get my feet under the seats, but yes, it would be nice to have a little more cabin space in the rear. But it is doable, and that's at 6'3", 18 stone, so yeah. Not what I really expected. And I love this. It just makes the door card stand out a little and brightens it up. Padded armrests, front and rear. This is a clever idea, and it allows for more ventilation in the headrest. If you've noticed, they're not solid. And yes, a touch activated rear light. Headroom, what's that, about an inch? The thing is, I am comfortable, and I don't need to slouch either. It would have been nice to see recline here, because realistically, you could have done it. It's the same with sliding. So it'd be nice to see that in the future models. Thing is, I am scraping the bottom of the barrel. What you get for the money is pretty damn cool. You've even got USBs on the side of the seat. Vents, storage area, and it is comfortable. Pull down armrest, but there is no ski hatch. But at least they're 40/60. And even though it doesn't look like I've got much of a view out the window, my eye line's about here. Yeah, they're not the biggest side windows, but they let enough light in. Once again, the two-tone works really well, and it does brighten up the rear interior. The thing is, it is airy enough. It's not the most spacious. I mean, I still can't believe that it's actually smaller than a Nero. But that's new platforms and how they maximise space. So a quick look in the boot. Oh yes, ISOFIX points and airbags. There's even a QR code on that front bit of the dash. I love these unique body lines and the way it flares out into the rear haunch. Also the black accents. No, it's funky, fresh, stylish. The thing is, I really think it suits Kia's new image. And if there was ever a vehicle that suited the new logo, this is it. Two-tone works really well on the rear. It's got refined bits, but also chunky bits. And that adds to the perfect car design. Well, at least in my eyes. LED rear lights, sporty back spoiler, rear wiper, high-level brake light, rear parking sensors, reversing camera, and if you go for the GT Line S, you get a 360. Let's take a look in the boot. So you've got a release on the key fob, but yes, no power tailgate. Thing is, look at that. At my height, on a car of this size, I can stand under the tailgate. Unheard of, quite literally. Considering the size of the vehicle, it's not a bad boot size either. Say a month's worth of shopping and a couple of suitcases. Also virtually no boot lip. Yes, it'd probably be a push for a family holiday. However, if you lift out the floor, it does increase the space. Storage areas on the left and right. Shopping bag hooks, and we've got a rear light here. Very easy to remove. Pull in the end, and look at that. Doesn't even catch on the sidewall pulling out. It's amazing how many do. Drop in the seats, nice and easy. Quite literally, pull up this and push forward. You can easily do it from the rear. Talk about simplicity. They don't lay entirely flat, but they're pretty close. I'd get my bike in, but I would have to take both wheels off. But the fact that it goes in at all is quite something. Oh, time's getting away. So I think all that remains is to load our luggage and then we better get off on our road trip. One final thing, under the bonnet. Pull once and it releases. Do we have a frunk? You wouldn't expect so, would you, on a small EV? Well, that's where you're wrong. And this is around 25 litres. So perfect for putting in your takeaway so it doesn't ruminate around your car. And look, struts. You can top up your fluids and there's your battery. And that's about your lot. Right, we really must be going. See you behind the wheel. Quite quiet, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Look at that for a turning circle.
Very nice.
Nice natural regen. I like that. No wheel spin.
No, puts the power down and it's smooth, isn't it?
It does. Looks 60 in about 7.7, 315 miles. Gonna have a bit of fun on the back lanes, and then we'll be on the motorway. You can tell it's got a central control unit. Look at the way. Wow. Yeah, you can have a lot of fun in this. See, I don't need to brake, I just let off the accelerator and round we go.
One of the things that really sticks out for me, when you're manoeuvring in tight spaces and you just need to just gently tap the accelerator to get things moving, it's not as jarring as I found some other EVs to be.
Yeah, they usually snap, don't they?
Yeah, but this doesn't at all.
No wheel spin, even off the line.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great looking, and see what cornering's like. Steering's nice and weighty. Got 5 driving modes as well. That's right. This is fantastic. That's it. You don't need the 0 to 60 when essentially you don't need to brake half as much as you think you will, because this will just go around corners like it's on rails. I mean, obviously the fact it's an EV makes it weighty, so that helps, but it's got a real feel of dynamicism. Is that a word, or have I invented that?
I think you might have made that up.
That's awesome. So yeah, nimble, agile, and instant power. Check the camber, and yeah, just absolutely nothing. It's great fun. Whereas this is 7.7, it still feels quite as raw, obviously, that it can really hold its own that lane. Yeah, there's multiple modes, and you can individualize as well, so you can tailor it.
And what about the steering? Leave it on sport or normal?
Yeah, no, I'd like the sporty weighty steering, please.
Okay.
Let's check the 90. This is always a nice test. Composed.
You can see why this has been voted Car of the Year.
Oh yeah. Whoa, we just went up a mile when we went round that corner.
Yeah.
And I was lightly accelerating. So I've got a feeling this will regen at the drop of a hat. That's interesting. Now we've changed mode, the regen's a fair bit lighter. Which I used to think was the case in all EVs.
Yeah.
I was driving one the other day and I put it in sport, and it coasted far more than I expected. That tends to be some of the Chinese EVs. You have a different way of approaching regen and coasting. With Kia, you know where you are, so you got it in sport, you'll get weighty steering, you get weighty regen. Road noise, little bit, even like that. You can tell they've increased refinement left, right and centre.
since the earlier EVs, and they weren't bad to start with.
Yeah, that's it. Kia's come a long way
Oh
in
yeah,
terms of refinement and handling.
since they changed their logo, their evolution has just gone. Wow. After charging, we've got 4.5 miles, traveling for 18 minutes. Anyway, 3.8 mile kilowatt hour. I expect to see that go up to about 4.5.